American families deserve a better deal. So this country works for everyone again, not just the elites, not just the special interests. Today, Democrats start presenting that better deal to the American people.
That's Senator Chuck Schumer, crying Chuck to some, presenting a better deal as Democrats roll out their long-awaited new agenda today. The job-centric policy appears to be a course correction from 2016 and very similar to that of President Trump's. Democrats now focusing on the American worker. Is it too late? Here now, Democratic strategist and former Clinton advisor Richard Goodstein, the Upside of Inequality author and former Bain Capital partner Ed Conard, who also is a visiting scholar at the American Enterprise Institute. He's very busy. And the Washington Examiner's White House correspondent Sarah Westwood is joining us in just a second. Ed, I will start with you. So I talked to one of the Democrats that was working on this earlier today, and she said the policy behind it, she could come up with two things that were going along with this. One was apprenticeships. The other thing were those shovel-ready infrastructure jobs, which certainly we've heard a lot about those. The apprenticeship, though, that was something that President Trump was talking about. Makes a lot of sense, did a lot of great stuff in Germany, but he was roundly ridiculed for coming up with that as a job idea. Now Democrats are kind of embracing it.
Well, I think they're a little bit late. When they started 8 years ago and unemployment was high, it would have been a great idea. We're at 4.5%, 4% unemployment today. The idea that we're going to retrain people into new jobs in any kind of time frame that makes reasonable sense, I think, is
But it's not retrain. It's kind of like the next generation that's coming up. So people that are in school right now that aren't studying for the jobs that are out there, like all the, I mean, there's all these coding jobs that are going wanting, and then there's other jobs. I mean, there's plumbing, there's all kinds of stuff where there's demand and there aren't enough people.
There's all kinds of improvements that we could make to education, theoretically. Yeah. We've been completely unable to make them. The teachers union, supported by the Democrats, have stood in the way of most of those changes and trying to get to school choice, for example. It's been an extremely tough road to hoe. Trying to get apprenticeships in schools has been very difficult to do. In the case of coding, you don't have teachers who are trained to teach coding. They want to teach the things that they're trained to do. They don't want to have to lose their job or go back and get retrained to try to do new things. So they're very resistant to changes in the school district.
Richard,
we've been unable to achieve them.
Yeah, Richard, one of the best models that I've seen is this idea that companies that are in the area, I mean, I've talked to lots of CEOs who have job openings that are open. They don't have anyone that has the skills to do it. If they partner with local schools to set up programs and set up education where they're essentially paying for it, they're training the workers they would need later. They don't need to use a lot of government funds. And anybody who wants to learn a skill that would then have a job in the community gets one. What's wrong with that idea?
You know, there are any number of ways to engage in the kind of worker training that this better deal plan entails. But I'll tell you how not to do it: to cut the funding for worker retraining programs like the Trump budget does by 40% overall, and totally for people over 65.
So is that part of the Democrat platform, is just the anti-Trump? Because that's right where you went. You read right for Trump is the devil. Which is sort of how Democrats got into this place.
Melissa, he's not the devil, but you went in by saying that this is eerily familiar with the Trump proposal. And it's familiar in the way that white is black or up is down or east is west. It's exactly the opposite. They're serious about it, whereas Trump wants to gut it. I'm sorry. I agree with your premise, incidentally, that I think these training programs actually have a lot of value in this new economy.
Ed, he did the resist Trump thing. So this is what they were trying to get away from, was that every answer is vote for us because we're not him and he's Darth Vader, which works on the people who think that President Trump is in fact Darth Vader. But for the other people who think he's creating jobs, it's not really that persuasive.
Yeah, I think what this agenda is we can legislate prosperity through government action. So we're going to raise the minimum wage. Seattle tried that. They went to $13 an hour. It's one of the fastest growing cities in the country. They lost 9% employment, low-wage employment as a result. They say they're going to spend $1 trillion on infrastructure. That'd be great if money grew on trees. But if we could reallocate the money from something else, which they refuse to do, the Democrats refuse to do, it might be a good idea to reallocate it. But when you're at 4.5% unemployment and you want to spend $1 trillion, where's that $1 trillion going to come from? The private sector. Who do you think allocates money more effectively? Politicians or the private sector? So this proposal that they have is spend, 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 regulate, regulate, regulate. Hey, they regulated Wall Street. How'd that work out? Try to get a mortgage as a middle-income American today. There's $2 trillion of savings sitting on the sideline with 0 interest rates, and people can't get get mortgages.
Richard, if you look at the results, I mean, it seems like the problem that Democrats are having is the parties have kind of flipped. I mean, it used to be that all the rich people were Republicans. Now, all of a sudden, the Democrats are the party of the 1%. I mean, everybody on Wall Street, every CEO, all the rich people in Silicon Valley, everybody in New York, they're all Democrats. And it seems like the Democrats have lost touch with the working people, the real folks out there who all showed up to vote for Trump. How do you get all those people back?
First, don't look at the Trump cabinet if you believe that every rich person is a Democrat. Second, in terms of all these people that showed up to vote for Trump, that's if you back out the 3 million that Hillary won by. So, I mean, let's not overstate it. Did Trump do well?
We're not playing, I mean, that's like saying that whoever got the most yards won the football game. It's about the points on the board, my friend.
No, listen. I'm saying that Trump did better among working people. And what did he do? He promised things that he will not be able to deliver on. I guarantee you, Melissa, have me back in a year or two, and let's talk about how many coal jobs he's restored. Talk to me about that in a year or two with a straight face that he's done it. And incidentally,
like all those shovel-ready jobs that President Obama was going to fill that never happened.
Well, the fact is, unemployment went from 10 to 5 under 5 under President Obama. It's ticked down. And as you know, the employment generation numbers in the past 6 months that Trump's been president are actually pretty weak compared to the 7 or 8 years that Obama was in. That's by any reckoning.
Okay. All right. Trump is Darth Vader. That's it. Got it. All right, guys. Thank you so much. That was fun.